On the shores of America, a silent invader is on the rise. Tens of thousands of green crabs crowd together, blanketing the sand, weaving through every crashing wave. A once peaceful beach has become a biological battlefield. They're only the size of a human hand, yet they pose a terrifying threat. Ecosystems are collapsing, fisheries are struggling to survive, and the U.S. economy is losing up to $22.6 million. Every single year. So, how can such a tiny creature bring an entire nation to its knees? The $22 million species attacking America's coasts. Their scientific name is Carcinus maenas, the European green crab. At first glance, they don't look menacing. A dark green shell, sharp little claws, a compact body that fits right in the palm of your hand. But behind that ordinary shell lies an extraordinary survivor. Green crabs can endure conditions where most others would die. Saltwater or brackish, freezing cold or scorching heat. They adapt and thrive. Each female can release up to 180,000 eggs in a single season. And within just a few short generations, their population explodes into a massive army. Originally from the Nordic and Mediterranean seas, these invaders hitched a ride across the world, hidden in the ballast water of global cargo ships. By the year 1817, the first records of green crabs appeared in Massachusetts. At first, they lurked quietly in a few small bays, seemingly harmless. At first, they only lurked in a few quiet bays, seemingly harmless. But it didn't stay that way for long. Soon, the crab's footprint spread down the east coast, all the way into Florida, and then across the west coast from California to Alaska. Everywhere they went, they wreaked havoc, devouring shellfish, tearing through eelgrass beds, and throwing entire ecosystems off balance. Scientists would later call it one of the most successful biological invasions in human history. On small fishing boats off New England and California, American fishermen now fight an unfair war. Steel trips, each weighing tens of kilograms, are dropped into the sea, the cables creaking under the strain of wind and waves. to just a few hours. When those traps are hauled back up, they're packed tight. Hundreds of green crabs, claws snapping wildly. Fishermen dump them onto the deck, and in an instant, the floor becomes a living, writhing carpet of shells and legs. The waves crash against the hull. Cold sea spray stings their faces. Ropes whip in the air as calloused hands keep pulling, sorting, tossing. One wrong move, one slip, and an accident could happen in a heartbeat. But what's worse is the futility. Catch 1,000 today, and tomorrow the sea is full again. It's an endless chase, like trying to scoop water out of a sinking boat. Faced with this wave of destruction, humans are finally forced to act. Scientists begin to think beyond traps and nets, searching for smarter solutions. They test pheromones to disrupt the crab's reproductive cycle, deploy sonar and drones to detect hidden nests beneath the tides, and even develop artificial intelligence to predict new invasion zones before they happen. But this fight isn't just about technology. Along the coasts, fishermen, students, and volunteers are joining forces in bold community campaigns. One of the most famous, called Eat the Invaders. The idea: turn an ecological enemy into a food source. Chefs and scientists propose transforming green crab into an alternative protein, creating not just a solution, but a new industry. Today, green crab shows up in soups, seafood broths, even on risotto tables. Some chefs call it the flavor you have to eat to save the ocean. But the question lingers: if we treat them as a resource, are we really slowing their spread, or just making them more permanent in our economy? Because while the green crab keeps multiplying along America's shores, far to the north, where icy waves hit like sledgehammers, a very different tragedy is unfolding. winter of 2022, fishermen and scientists were stunned. Billions of snow crabs vanished from the Bering Sea. In just one season, one of the richest fishing grounds on Earth suddenly empty. Fishing licenses were cancelled, boats were tied to docks, and thousands of families were thrown into crisis. The same ocean that once gave life now takes it away, and all anyone can whisper is one word: heat. Unlike the green crab, which reproduces endlessly, the snow crab has been betrayed by the ocean itself. In the Bering Sea, temperatures rise abnormally. Ice melts early, and the cold water layer that snow crabs depend on simply vanishes. The result? More than 10 billion snow crabs starved or were wiped out entirely. A fishery worth hundreds of millions of dollars each year. Gone. An entire ecosystem hollowed out in silence.
Almost overnight, the regional economy began to crumble.
The Alaskan government had no choice. They canceled the entire 2022 to 2023 snow crab season. Almost overnight, the regional economy began to crumble. Within just a few months, $1 billion had vanished. The shock rippled far beyond Alaska. The global seafood supply chain collapsed in places. Crab prices skyrocketed. High-end restaurants ran out of ingredients, and thousands of fishermen and processors lost their jobs. The other, exhaustion to the edge of extinction. And so the haunting question emerges: have humans, through global trade and climate change, created an ocean of paradoxes where invaders explode, while native treasures quietly die? The ocean is changing faster than ever. Invaders multiply endlessly. While native species vanish in the blink of an eye, the question remains: can we still control these paradoxes, or must we learn to live with them? If you found this story thought-provoking, please like, subscribe, and share so we can keep uncovering the controversial truths and unprecedented perspectives shaping our natural world. And this isn't just theory. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Bering Sea has warmed by nearly 2 degrees Celsius over the past 2 decades, a rate almost 4 times faster than the global ocean average. That temperature rise doesn't just melt ice, it shifts entire food chains. Phytoplankton blooms earlier, and the tiny zooplankton that young snow crabs depend on are no longer there when they hatch. Meanwhile, invasive species like the green crab are taking advantage of the chaos. In 2021, researchers from the University of Washington recorded green crab populations in Puget Sound, multiplying at record speed, with some traps catching more than 500 individuals in a single night. Each crab may weigh just a few ounces, but together they consume millions of clams, mussels, and juvenile fish, erasing the foundation of local ecosystems faster than they can recover. It's a silent war beneath the surface, a war between species that thrive in a warming world and those that cannot adapt quickly enough to survive it.